As the movie opens, a city dealing with a large number of deaths is shown. When the doctors have their postmortem, they learn, as someone had taken humans' hearts out. The whole city was quite afraid because 30 people have died, and the same happened 30 years prior. According to the people, the same death spirit has returned again. That is killing the people in this way, and we see a man in this city, Frank, and his own wife died in a car accident, and Frank was also there in that car. But after that accident, his life was changed totally. After that accident, Frank could see dead people. In this way, he befriended 3 spirits. After his wife's death, Frank left his job, and he used to help to those who experienced ghostly shadows in their homes. In exchange for this task, he charged money from them. One day, Frank diverts his attention when he was going. He damages the garden of a man. He shows a card to that man and tells him, "I'll soon fulfill your loss." The name of this man's wife was Lucy, whose garden was damaged by Frank. She was a doctor-physician, and when she comes to a house whose owner was an old lady and her daughter's hand was injured while cutting the vegetables. For this reason, Lucy has come for the bandage of her daughter at her house. Lucy tells her that her daughter's injury is quite deep and she needs to be taken to the hospital. The old lady says, "No, my daughter has never gone outside. Your work is done and you may leave now." While going, Lucy sees a few marks on the neck of the old lady's daughter and asks, "Who has done this with you? Tell me?" But she doesn't tell her anything, and the old lady asks her to go out of her house. Now, Lucy returned her house, and at night, when she was with her husband in her house, strange things begin to happen. Her bed was flying into the air. All the things in the house begin to tremble. Seeing this all, Lucy understands that there is a ghost shadow in her house. Now, she phones Frank and calls him. He tells her that there is a dangerous ghost shadow in her house, and I can easily kick this ghost out, but I will charge a fee for this. But don't worry, I'll not even charge fee for it. In exchange for the lawn that was damaged by me, I'll do this work for you. But when he was talking to Lucy's husband here, he sees the number 37 written on his forehead. Frank asks what kind of number is written on your forehead, but he doesn't tell him anything and asks him to leave his house, and then a shadow emerges from Lucy's house. On the other hand, we learn that Frank has deliberately sent those ghosts to Lucy's house, who were his friends, so he can't pay for his loss, what he had done in the morning at his house. One day, when Frank was going, he sees Lucy's husband coming toward him, but he wasn't real, but his soul. He comes and hit Frank, and both fall as a result. And he says, "Save me, they'll bury me." Frank tells him, "Because you've died, and they'll bury you for sure." Frank goes to the place where everyone was burying Lucy's husband. Lucy comes to Frank and asks him, "Can you talk to my husband's soul?" Now, both of them go to a hotel, and Lucy tells Frank to ask the soul of my husband where he has kept my money. When Frank asks, he learns that Lucy's husband has consumed that money in a legal task. When Lucy hears this, he tells Frank that me and my husband both were not honest with each other. Our marriage was not happy. When Frank was hearing this all, he keeps his hands over Lucy's hands. As a result, her husband feels jealousy and anger. He throws the glass on Frank's dress, and his dress was spoiled. When he goes to clean his dress in the bathroom, he sees a man there. On his forehead, the number 38 was written. As it was written on Lucy's husband's forehead, that was 37 number. Seeing this, Frank thinks that there is something wrong. He looks around and thinks that there is a ghost here. Meanwhile, a black shadow emerges from there. He puts his hands in his heart on the man whose forehead number 38 was written. He takes his heart out, and Frank was watching this all secretly. The man who died, his soul emerges. a door from another world opens in front of him, and his soul goes into it. On the other hand, Frank was trying to chase that black shadow. He understands that everyone had died because of this black shadow, but he couldn't catch him. There, the police caught Lucy because they were doubting Frank. They believe Frank is responsible for the death of all the people dying, because Frank was there at that time. For this reason, they call Lucy and ask about everything. There was an agent of the FBI there. He tells all the story to Lucy. He says when Frank was constructing his house, during that time, he fought with his wife. Both of them were going in their car, and they had an accident. On the forehead of his wife, the number 13 was written. He always had a knife with him that we never got. When we met Frank 2 hours after the incident, he told us he remembers nothing about what happened to him. On the other hand, Frank, who was sadly sitting in his car. Meanwhile, he sees a light emerging from the sky. This was the light that takes souls into another world. Frank understands that someone had died there. When he goes there, a child died there. After seeing him, he understands that he is certainly killed by that black shadow that no one could see. When Frank sees the soul of that boy, on his forehead, the number 39 was written. That is, it means that the shadow has killed 39 people yet. Frank sees the number 40 written on the face of a woman when he was going. He understands that the next turn is of this lady. When he goes to that lady, the lady tells him that there is no money for him there. Meanwhile, the police come there and arrest him because Frank was there when the man in the bathroom died, and there as well, and then the black shadow emerges again. He was trying to kill that reporter. One of the 3 souls shoots at the black shadow who was Frank's friend. As a result, he runs from there, and Frank takes the reporter in his car and was trying to save him, and then his car has an accident and he falls away. The black shadow takes out the heart of the reporter and kills him. Frank could not save the reporter even though he wishes to. The reporter died in the same way as his wife died. He was remembering his old memories slowly. When the soul of the reporter emerges, it asks Frank what you got by killing. You've killed your wife as well. Hearing this, Frank was a little worried. He goes to the police station where Lucy was there. The police have arrested Frank and an agent of the FBI investigates him. Frank tells him that a black shadow is killing everyone. He doesn't believe Frank's words. He thinks that Frank himself is killing everyone and just making a story by his side. He doesn't even remember how many people he has killed. The agent tells him that this is just an illusion, a thought, and nothing else. The souls you see are not real, but an illusion of your mind. Now, Frank begins to believe in Frank's words. The souls, his friends, come to him, but Frank now can't see them. He begins to think what the agent has said is right. On the other side, Lucy goes to Frank's house and sees some recorded messages there, in which a woman tells, "My daughter, Patricia, is under the control of the devil. He has called her into this world, and I need your help." Actually, Patricia was the daughter of the same old lady whose house Lucy has visited before. Lucy thinks that the mental condition of Patricia's mom isn't stable. She was thinking about the marks she saw on her neck that her mom has surely given her, and Lucy goes to Patricia's house. His mom wasn't present there, and Lucy tells her that your mom's mental condition isn't stable, and you have to go out from this house. Patricia tells her that she can't understand about this and begins to look at a jar. When Lucy asks about it, she tells her that my father has committed a murder and taken his life. My mom considers me responsible for his death. This jar has his ashes and I keep it with me. Lucy's mom also came and she hid Lucy in a cupboard. Lucy finds the same knife of Frank there that the police was searching for years. With its help, the number 13 was written on Frank's forehead. Lucy becomes quite afraid to see this and she manages to go out of this house somehow and goes to Frank. Now, Frank doesn't believe Lucy's words, but Lucy assures him by saying, "Trust me, everything will be fine." During this time, he sees the number 41 written on Lucy's forehead. It means Lucy was the next prey of that black shadow. Meanwhile, the black shadow comes there and Frank was trying to capture it, but he can't capture it. And when that black shadow puts its hand in Lucy's heart, because Frank's friends, the souls, come there and take the shadow with them. Once again, the black shadow attacks Lucy. Somehow Lucy and Frank go out of jail. Frank wants to save Lucy somehow because he started to love her. He wanted to kill himself because he wants to get rid of that black shadow so he can encounter that black shadow. But before he can shoot himself, Lucy stops him and says that we have another way, because Lucy was a doctor and she knows much more. She tells Frank, "We'll use hypothermia, in which humans are injected by a drug injection. As a result, humans' heartbeat stops for a while. Before you die completely, I'll give you electric shocks. As a result, you'll be alive again." They do the same, and they start their task. For this task, we'll have 20 minutes, and if we get late, Frank, you'll die forever. For doing this all, Frank was kept in a room that was quite cold. For this task, the human body is made frozen. Meanwhile, the agent of FBI also comes there. He doesn't want Frank to come out of the room. Meanwhile, he takes Lucy with him. Frank's soul wakes up, and his soul knows that the black shadow is still chasing Lucy, and he follows them. Frank's soul has captured the black shadow. Frank comes to know about the reality of that black shadow. Actually, this black shadow was the soul of a man who was a doctor, and he killed 11 people together in his hospital before many years. He was doing this because he wanted to become the world's biggest killer. No one else but Patricia was involved with him in these all tasks. She was a nurse, but she was only 15 years old at that time. So, she was sentenced to life imprisonment and the doctor was sentenced to death when Frank was trying to kill the doctor's soul. Meanwhile, Lucy reaches where Frank's body was. She makes him alive after giving him electric shocks. Before coming, Frank has put off the shawl of the black shadow. Because of this, now, he can't take off the heart of the people. Frank tells that the doctor's soul has returned and killing everyone. Used to bring Patricia out of the house. She does so. She goes to Patricia's house and takes her out with her. But her mom forbade her and says that Patricia will not go anywhere. Lucy asks, "What was the Franklin knife doing in your cupboard?" Hearing this, Patricia's mom goes to her room. Meanwhile, Patricia goes after her, and she returned after a while. She says, "Mom has agreed, and I'm ready to go to the police." Suddenly, the behavior of Patricia was changed. The doctor's soul came there, and Patricia was feeling it because she loved the doctor. The doctor couldn't kill Lucy, and he asks Patricia to kill Lucy. We've to make a record of the highest number of murders. Patricia tells him that I'll be back after wearing my coat. Actually, she went to take her knife because she wanted to kill Lucy. Meanwhile, Lucy sees that Patricia has killed her mom and was trying to attack her, but Frank also came there. Patricia now tries to kill both of them. The doctor's soul was about to kill Lucy after going into a picture. Frank breaks that picture. The doctor's soul goes into a jar placed nearby. After closing the jar, Frank begins to read the name, on which the doctor's name was written, which means Patricia was lying. This has her dad's ashes, and Lucy tells Frank, "We've to take it to a church." Now they go to the same hospital where the doctor has killed many people many years ago. Now, that hospital was deserted because after that incident, the hospital was closed. When he returns, he sees all the old memories there. Frank was seeing all the murders there, where many people were killed in this hospital many years ago. Meanwhile, Patricia also come there, and the FBI agent who was investigating this case come there. The agent has that jar in which the ashes and bones of that doctor were. He opens the jar and the doctor's soul was now freed. He wanted to kill Frank, and meanwhile, Patricia comes there. She was about to kill Frank, but he falls down deliberately. The bullet hits the agent and he dies. Frank was thinking about his dead wife there when she was killed by the doctor's soul and Patricia together. Frank couldn't remember if he wants to. Frank was quite injured because of being fallen down. Patricia and the doctor's soul also come there. Patricia was about to shoot at Frank, but there was no bullet in the gun. That's why Patricia kills him after suffocating him. Lucy wasn't able to help Frank even if she wanted to, because the doctor's soul has captured her. Lucy can't save him because Patricia has killed him. Now, she comes to kill Lucy, and meanwhile, Frank's soul takes her into another world after holding her. He tells the doctor if he wants to save Patricia, come and save her. He goes after them and saves Patricia from Frank's soul. He says we're going back to kill the people. Meanwhile, that door became the hell door. A giant creature pulls them to his side. In the other world where good people were, Frank meets the souls who used to be his friends in the world. They were released and Frank sees his wife there. She tells Frank, go and be happy, because it wasn't Frank's time. Frank's soul has returned to his body. It means he returns to life. Now, he and Lucy were living happily. Along with this, Lucy has the power where she can see the souls of dead people. Lucy and Frank will now lead a happy life. Along with this, the film ends.